Sunday was a mild temperature spring day for me, and I had just driven about 30 minutes to finish celebrating a birthday with some family. And I thought, maybe it's time to try that local DC fast charger, which is only really 20 kilowatts. But I went ahead and tried it for about 4 or 5%, and it costs $5 up front. So it is only in the case of an emergency, just a little ABB unit at the Mercedes dealership. But after I tested it, I thought, my battery's probably pretty warm right now. Maybe it's time for a 10 to 80% charge. So let's do a test of the lithium iron phosphate pack in the Ocean Sport 75 kilowatt hours and see how fast it goes from 10 to 80%. I think you'll be surprised. So the closest Electrify America to me is Bell Vernon, and that's where we need to get to do this 10 to 80% test. I'm at 45% battery. Let's make sure that we give this car every chance to precondition, even though I don't think it does.
Eventually.
It has now directed me to a charger. It now says I'm going to charge, and it says TriStar Chevrolet, which is in Uniontown, so it's before I'm actually going to get to Bell Vernon. So in the event that it was going to precondition, it would. And at least at this point, I would be at an optimal temperature to charge. In the meantime, I'm going to also navigate on my phone. So I have some kind of additional tool to get to the actual charger. Just a funny little software quirk. I just thought I'd show you that right now it says the speed limit is 80. And it's totally not. I'm at TriStar. Now I need to figure out what I actually need to do. Planning and travel. We'll just leave it at 15. Let's go ahead and end this. And then we need to go to this. I'm assuming that's it. So I'm going to set my Siri for the same one just to be safe. And then we'll get on the road for it. It says I'm going to be 17%. Notice TomTom was off by literally a mile. And we're definitely moving up. Now the speed limit is 90. So I'm sorry I'm not doing 90. So I'm just passing Sheetz Electrify America, but I can't go there yet because I'm at 19%. All right, I've reached 10%. Turning into this gas station. I shouldn't go to 9 because I've got a big downhill up here, and I may go back to 11. All right, back to Sheetz. At the bottom of the hill, 10%, Electrify America. Come over here to the unit, and I am at unit 4, I believe. Yep, charger 4. And it says ready. So let's grab our handle here. You have to pull it a little bit to get that part loose there. And then we're going to plug in. Man, these are not easy. Okay, plugged in. Smash the like button if you understood how hard it was to hold a camera and a phone and plug that in. I'm at charger 4. And it says swipe to start charge. So we're gonna do it. Initiating charging. And I need my stopwatch, clock, stopwatch, reset. And yes, I'm letting this play out in real time so you can understand how long it takes to go from plugged in and not charging to plugged in and charging. Hard to contact her. Start. Okay, here we go. Already ramping up. 80, 90, 100, and oh, look at this. 112. Remember, this is an Ocean Sport. It doesn't even share the same battery chemistry with the Ocean Extreme, Ultra, and Ocean One, let alone the same type of battery. All right, we are going. I am also turning on climate control. So We had 40 seconds of no climate control, but I think we'll be all right. It's a little bit nippy out now. It's got down to 49 degrees, but that's not hurting our speed. So we're here to 80%, guys. Let's just rock and roll. So you can tell this is my first time doing this, but I really wanted to get a peak speed, a time from 10% to 80%, and a nice look at the charge curve. I do think I was right about the fact that the Ocean did not precondition, but because I had been running it for the last 3 hours, and I had done a DC fast charge, or let's call it a DC charge, I don't think 20 kilowatts is fast, along with the fact that it was mild weather, and I was low in the pack at 10%, the speeds you'll see are likely close to or at peak speed for this lithium iron phosphate pack in the Fisker Ocean Sport. I did get lucky with this angle, however, because you can see the Electrify America screen and the driver's display on the Fisker Ocean, but in order to put the time in there so it was easily visible, I had to hold it with my hand. But at about 9 minutes, I realized I could put it all on one screen on the main display. The peak speed you're going to see received by the Ocean Sport during this video is about 115 kilowatts, and the peak speed delivered from Electrify America is 120 kilowatts. Not super amazing, but you'll see when we get to the end, it's pretty competitive. And when it's over, I'll put up the charge curve compared to some other CCS vehicles, based on a 0 to 100 test by out-of-spec reviews. And just some real quick commentary on Electrify America while we wait. I am not a fan of this charging network at all. They charge 52 cents a kilowatt hour at this station, and that is absolutely insane. In fact, it makes traveling almost the same price as gas to DC fast charge. My current electric rate at home is like 12 cents per kilowatt hour, and I know people in Canada will laugh at how expensive that is. So Electrify America, while it may be the fastest way to charge your CCS vehicle before the NACS goes native for everybody, it is definitely also the most expensive. But the price isn't my only issue with Electrify America. And I have a lot more insights on that. Make sure you subscribe because I'm going to break all that down in an upcoming video. If you noticed, at 58%, I dropped down to 75 kilowatts, and at 68%, there's another drop where I go down to about 65, 66 kilowatts. Watching the speed as the percentage increases is a good way to determine what the most efficient solution for your current trip will be. 120 kilowatts is twice what 60 kilowatts is. So once that step change happens, in my opinion, if you have the range to get to the next charger at or around 10%, the drop from 75 to 65 is probably the best time to unplug. That said, let's finish up. I let the vehicle charge to what Electrify America said was 81% because it also said I plugged in at 11%, but if you'll notice, the car was 10 to 80. Kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, but something to note. Also, it looks like the 8% is where these jumps are being made. At 78%, we went down to 28 kilowatts. 36 minutes and 12 seconds from 10 to 80% on the lithium iron phosphate pack in the Fisker Ocean Sport. Let's see how it stacks up. So this is the out-of-spec reviews 0 to 100% chart, and I've erased all the data. Our 10 to 80 looks really good for the Fisker Ocean Sport considering it's a lithium iron phosphate pack. Speeds are right around 100 kilowatts all the way up to about 58% where you make that jump down to around 75. Then it cools down to around 65 until 78% where you get that massive drop down to 28 kilowatts, right before you get to 80%. But the interesting part of the narrative starts when you compare the other vehicles. At the beginning, between 10 and 30%, the Ocean Sport is pretty slow, with almost everything having a faster speed at a lower state of charge. But things start to look up around 50%. The Ocean Sport is basically right in the middle of the pack, and it kind of stays there all the way through to the drop off at 28%. But if you can wait out that initial 20%, the Ocean Sport really keeps up with the competition. And with 30 minutes kind of being the benchmark for a 10 to 80% charge, 36 minutes on a lithium iron phosphate pack, which will never be able to compete with nickel manganese cobalt, is reasonably competitive in my opinion. So when to unplug? The Ocean Sport is just like a Tesla in the fact that 10 to 50 is where you want to live on a road trip. You can also see at 58%, the Model Y long range is the same speed as the Ocean Sport. And I typically unplug my Model Y if I go below 100 kilowatts. So there's the Fisker Ocean Sport and its touring range lithium iron phosphate battery from 10 to 80%. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. You can join Patreon or become a YouTube member for early access to videos. Subscribe for more. We'll see you on the next one.
Hey! Smash the like button!
Thank you.